Welcome to TechNova Podcast.
All right, so you sent over a stack of articles all about the rumored iPhone SE4. And you want the real scoop, right? You want to go deeper than just what everyone's saying.
You want to know about those potential ripple effects
Yeah.
and what it all means for the future of iPhones, maybe even smartphones in general.
Exactly. So first things first, when is this thing actually launching? Everyone's wondering.
Well, Apple CEO Tim Cook, he actually teased a date, February 19th. He says it's for the newest member of the family.
Oh, sneaky.
He's being a little bit cryptic, but most signs are pointing to this being the iPhone SE4.
But wait a second, didn't he usually do like a big event, a big fancy event for these iPhone launches? Why is this so different this time?
You're right. A simple announcement on Apple's newsroom site that I hear a departure from their usual style. I mean, some people are saying it could be like a cost-saving thing. Or maybe Apple's trying to be mysterious and create some hype and exclusivity. It's fueling the rumor mill for sure.
Makes you wonder if they're downplaying it a little bit. Like it's not a big deal. But Ming-Chi Kuo, he's a pretty well-known Apple analyst. He's predicting some strong sales for this new model, especially with those Apple Intelligence features. That's huge for a budget phone, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Apple Intelligence has become so central to the whole iPhone experience. Think about the personalized recommendations, the advanced photo editing. It's almost expected on the pricier models. So bringing that to a more affordable phone, that could be huge EE for people who haven't upgraded yet.
It's like they're trying to tempt those Android users, the people on the fence about the price. Like, yeah, you can get that cool Apple stuff without going broke.
Exactly. And not just that, think about what this could mean for Qualcomm. Kuo is suggesting that Apple might be using their own in-house modem. For the SE4,
Wait, they're making their own modem? Isn't that Qualcomm's whole thing?
yeah, right now, Apple relies on them for those chips, the ones that connect you to cell networks. But if Apple successfully develops their own, that could be a huge shift in power.
Okay, walk me through this. What would that shift actually look like? What would change?
Well, first off, think about the cost savings for Apple. They're not relying on Qualcomm anymore, so they control their own supply chain, which means they can cut costs.
So maybe cheaper iPhones?
Yeah.
Or at least keeping the prices the same? Even with the fancy new features?
Possibly. But it goes even deeper. What if Apple ditches Qualcomm and their in-house modem is just that good? Other manufacturers might think, hey, maybe we should develop our own modems too. It could be a whole new wave of innovation.
Okay, I see what you're saying. More competition usually means better products and lower prices.
Exactly. So this one detail about the modem could have huge implications for the whole smartphone market, maybe even how we connect to the internet.
Talk about a ripple effect. Okay, so we've got a potential launch date and some big industry implications. But what about the phone itself? What's the biggest change that people are talking about?
Well, get ready for this one. The rumors are saying that Apple is ditching the classic home button. On the SE4,
Hold on, no home button. Seriously. That's been on the iPhone forever. What's making them change that now?
it looks like they're going all in. On the all-screen design, the leaks suggest the SE4 will look more like the iPhone 14, with a bigger screen. And Face ID instead of Touch ID. If this is true, it'd be the first time since the original iPhone, way back in 2007, that Apple won't have a phone with a home button.
Wow, that IS, huge. I get why a bigger screen is good, but I bet some people are going to freak out about losing that button. Think about all the people who've been using iPhones forever. They're used to that feel. It's going to be a big change.
Absolutely. It'll be a learning curve, but Apple's been phasing it out for a while now. Remember when they got rid of the headphone jack?
Oh yeah, people lost it. But then we all got used to it, and now wireless headphones are everywhere.
Exactly. So this might seem like a big change, but it's part of Apple's plan. They're making all their devices look more similar, streamlining everything. They're betting that the new design will be worth it.
True. Remember floppy disks? Gone. CD drives? Poof. Apple's not afraid to shake things up. But wait, there's even talk about a name change. What's going on with that?
Yeah, some sources are saying they might get rid of that iPhone SE name completely and go with iPhone 16e.
iPhone 16e. It does sound kind of catchy. But why would they change it?
Well, think about it. The old SE models, they were basically just updated versions of older iPhones. But this SE4, if it really is a brand new design, then putting it with the iPhone 16 makes more sense. It tells people this is cutting edge, not just a cheaper phone.
And it sets things up for the future of the SE line. It's not just about taking old parts and making them cheaper anymore.
Exactly. It's about bringing those top-tier features to more people. It's not just an affordable alternative. It's a flagship experience. at an accessible price.
Okay, so we've got the launch date, the redesign, a potential name change, and huge changes for the whole industry. What else should we look at?
We've talked a lot about the phone itself, the hardware and the tech. But what about us, the users? How will this new iPhone change how we use our phones every day?
Ooh, that's a good point. Let's dive into that next.
When you think about the home button, it's more than just a button, right? It's been a part of the iPhone for so long, like that muscle memory, that click. It's part of the experience.
Totally. I remember when I first got an iPhone, without a home button, it felt so weird. Like, where do I put my thumb?
Exactly. It's familiar. But Apple's saying people will adapt, like we did with the headphone jack. And with the bigger screen, think about it. More immersive games, better multitasking, maybe even new accessibility features using Face ID.
That was an interesting point. I didn't even think about accessibility.
Right. It could be huge for people who have trouble using buttons. And Face ID could also make things more secure in ways we couldn't do before.
It's like every change has these good and bad things. It's crazy to think about all the things that could happen.
For sure. That's what makes this launch so exciting. It's not just a phone, it's a whole new way to use technology.
Okay, so let's talk about Apple Intelligence. You mentioned it before, but why is it such a big deal for this SE4?
Well, think about the typical iPhone buyer. They want the best features, right? The newest stuff.
Yeah, that usually means
Yeah.
you got to pay a lot.
Exactly. But the SE4, it's like Apple's making those premium features available to everyone, specifically Apple Intelligence. Think about it, those powerful tools, personalized stuff, fancy photo and video editing, better security, all on a budget phone.
Especially for younger people or people new to iPhones. It's like Apple saying, you don't have to get a cheap experience just because you don't want to spend a lot.
Exactly. This could be huge for Apple, especially in places where people don't want to spend a lot. It could even make other companies step up their game and offer similar features.
It's crazy to think this phone could change the whole industry. Okay, so we talked about the launch date, the redesign, the name change rumors, and Apple Intelligence. What else is there?
Let's talk about the tech industry as a whole. Remember we were talking about Apple maybe using their own modem?
Oh, yeah. The ripple effect.
Exactly. This is a big deal not just for Apple, but for every smartphone out there. Right now, Apple has to use Qualcomm for its modems, the things that let you connect to the cell network. But if Apple makes their own, they don't need Qualcomm anymore.
Okay, so they wouldn't need Qualcomm. What would that change?
Well, right now, Qualcomm has a lot of power. They're the main modem people. But if Apple, one of their biggest customers, starts making their own modems, everything changes.
It's like Apple can make their own rules.
Exactly. And that could mean a lot of things. First, Apple could save money. They could get better deals. Or even make everything themselves, which means even lower costs.
So cheaper iPhones.
Maybe. But it's bigger than that. What if Apple's modem is so good that other companies start ditching Qualcomm too?
Like Apple sets the trend.
Exactly. Everyone would start making their own modems. That would mean faster, more efficient, and cheaper internet for everyone.
Wow. So this little chip could change how we use the internet.
Absolutely. It just shows that even the small stuff can change the whole tech world.
Okay, so that's the tech industry. But what about us? How will this new iPhone change how we use our phones every day?
That's a great question. I think it's important to remember that every new piece of tech, every new feature has good and bad things.
There's always two sides.
Exactly. For example, the home button going away might seem like just a design thing, but it could change how we use our phones.
Like losing something familiar.
Exactly. And some people won't like that, especially people used to the home button. But the bigger screen and Face ID could also bring new things.
Yeah, it's not just about losing stuff. It's about getting new things, too.
Exactly. We could see more immersive stuff, new gestures, and maybe even new features for people with disabilities using Face ID.
I see how this could be a big change. It's not just small upgrades anymore. It's a whole new way to use the iPhone.
And that's what makes it so exciting. It's not just specs and features. It's about changing how we use technology.
Okay, so let's say all these rumors are true. We've got a redesigned iPhone, bigger screen, Face ID, Apple Intelligence, maybe even a new name. What does this mean for the future of the SE line?
That's a great question. I think it shows what Apple wants to do with the SE line. It's not just a cheaper option anymore. They want everyone to have the newest features.
So it's not just about saving money. It's about making sure anyone can have a good iPhone experience.
Exactly. This is a good move for Apple. They can get more customers this way, even people who might have gone with Android.
It's like they're saying you don't have to settle for less just because you're on a budget.
And that's a big deal. especially now. People want good stuff. They don't want to compromise. Apple gets that, and they're making it happen.
Okay, we talked about the design changes, but what about the software? What's iOS going to be like on this phone?
Well, it'll probably have the newest iOS, which means all the new stuff.
So all the multitasking things, the privacy stuff,
Yeah.
and all the new AI stuff.
Exactly. And because it'll probably have the same A18 chip as the iPhone 16, it should run everything really well.
Hold on, the A18 chip, what's that?
Think of it like the brain of the phone. It's Apple's best processor yet. It can handle anything you throw at it. So editing videos, playing games, even just browsing the internet, it'll be smooth and fast.
So even on a budget phone, no lag or glitches.
Exactly. Apple is really good at making their software and hardware work together. And that's important because we use our phones for everything now.
I see what you mean. It's not just a new phone. It's about how we use technology in general.
Exactly. It's about making technology better, easier to use, and more a part of our lives. And it all starts with this phone, the iPhone SE4.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot today, from the launch date to what it means for the whole tech world. But I think the biggest thing is that Apple is going all in on this phone. They're bringing their best stuff to the budget phone market. And that's exciting.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, who would have thought we'd be so excited for a budget phone? But you know what LSE is exciting? We might not have to wait long to actually see it.
Right. The rumor mill is saying that the release timeline could be pretty fast.
Okay, spill it. How soon are we talking?
Get ready. Pre-orders could start as early as Friday, February 21st.
That's like right after the announcement.
It is less than 2 days.
But wouldn't they want to give people some time to read reviews and stuff, do their research before they buy?
You would think so, right? Maybe Apple's just really confident. Or maybe they want to beat the competition.
It's a bold move for sure. So pre-orders on the 21st. When can we expect those reviews?
People are saying they could start coming out on Tuesday the 26th or Wednesday the 27th.
Just in time for people to decide. Okay, so if they're moving this fast,
Yeah.
when's the actual release date?
Friday, February 28th is what we're hearing.
That's crazy. Less than 2 weeks after they announce it.
Apple's not messing around.
It makes you wonder, are they feeling some pressure, like they need to change things up to stay ahead?
Maybe. It's like they're saying, we're not going to play it safe. We're going to do big things and change what a smartphone can be.
So what does it all mean? It seems like Apple's going to shake things up. And not just for budget phones, maybe for the whole tech world.
Absolutely. This launch could change what we think a budget phone can be.
What do you think? Are you ready to say goodbye to the home button? Is Apple Intelligence on a cheaper phone a big deal? What are you most excited about?
We've given you the facts, the opinions, and the possible timeline. Now, the big question is, will you be getting the new iPhone SE?
We've only just started talking about this, and there's still a lot we don't know. But one thing's for sure, tech is never boring. And this new iPhone is going to be interesting to watch. Keep your eyes peeled for more news. We'll be back with more deep dives as soon as we know more.